Welcome yogis to today's yin practice, which is going to be centered and themed around discomfort. But please don't stop the video just yet. Don't let that scare you. There will still be plenty of yin favorites, some juicy, comforting postures as well. But we are going to incorporate some more postures that do tend to bring up a little bit more for us, whether it's more kind of physical sensation, mental sensation, but definitely some postures that usually when we're doing them can bring some moans and groans. And the reason why we're doing them is because, one, it is still good to do them. We don't want to neglect and forget about those postures, especially because they do still target parts of our body that it's beneficial. We want to work the whole, right? Not just pieces. The other reason why I like to do this practice sometimes is because this is a safer place, right? You're in the comfort of your own home. So if there's ever a time for you to feel discomfort, to feel what it brings up for you, whether it's anger, fear, maybe more tension, some anxiety, if there's ever a time for that to come up, this is the space to first let that happen. Notice how it makes you feel in your body, right? Because a lot of times you might start to realize all these different sensations, not just feelings of fear or anger, whatever it is, but you can also actually feel it manifest in your body through maybe warm sensations. Maybe you get flushed, you get really hot, or maybe you get cold. It's really interesting to see how these postures impact us. And once we have the time to do that in this kind of practice where we really do have the space to notice and assess, we can take that off of our mat with us. And so that way, because whether we want to face it or not, there are always going to be moments of discomfort in our life. There are going to be moments that make us really uncomfortable, anxious, things that we don't look forward to, but we have to face them anyway. So let this practice be a guide for you, be a guide for those moments in life. So yogis, please grab a bolster or pillow. You can grab a yoga blanket. I have a yoga towel because I don't have the heart to take the blanket for my kitty right now. It's his favorite. And feel free to grab a block or two as well. Also, grab some tea, or grab a warm drink, anything that's kind of comforting for you, some warm clothes, something that will kind of help you balance out and guide you through this practice. All right. Let's get started. In our first posture, which is going to be dangling, it's essentially the yin version of ragdoll. So you're gonna take your feet wide, round down, hang heavy. Your knees can be really bent, right? I want your torso to be so heavy on the tops of your thighs. And then you can just hang here with your arms relaxed, or grab opposite elbow. And then let your head and neck hang heavy. So as you hang here, yogis, find the sweet spot of how much you need your knees bent, if you're grabbing opposite elbow or not. In a pose like this, part of our body is really active, right? Because we're standing. We have to support ourselves so we don't fall. But where can you soften? Where can you let go? Okay, if you're holding on to opposite elbow, release your hands to the mat. And then heel toe your feet out a little wider to sink down into yogi squat. So for yogi squat, I'll face you so you can see the front. Your knees are wide. I like to bring my hands to heart. Just kind of makes me feel grounded, helps me feel supported, but you can let your hands relax as well. The other thing you can do is you can grab a block or two blocks. If bending like this causes you a lot of pain, then again, feel free to grab the blocks. Also, feel free to be a little higher. Okay, you don't have to be as low as me. You can sit on your blocks like this. However, for me, this is really easy. This is just like me hanging out. This isn't restorative yoga. This is yin yoga. So I still want you to feel sensation. So if you notice the blocks take away all sensation, then I encourage you to remove them and to always lower them a setting, assess where you need that, because we are still trying to feel mild to moderate sensation versus nothing at all. And yogis, a gentle reminder as you settle in here that while we are seeking out sensation in yin yoga, it's okay if it doesn't always happen, but we aren't seeking out pain. So we are doing some postures today that might cause a little bit more sensation than we're used to. There are going to be absolutely levels of discomfort. There's going to be sensations of dullness, achiness, kind of raw feeling. All of that is normal, and that we're actually seeking. But if anything becomes painful, truly, truly painful, if you go completely numb, burning, and adjusting doesn't help, then I want you to come out of the pose. Okay? As always, this is not a game of survivor. So please, please take care of yourself and come out if needed. All right, yogis, take your time coming to a seat on your mat. Move slowly. I always say move gingerly. It's one of my favorite words in yin yoga, because we can get stiff and we really can feel like we've aged 100 years. So you want to take your time. Just send your legs out long in front of you. Rest here for a moment. All right, and then setting up for caterpillar, keep your legs extended. You can always slightly bend them if that helps. You can also sit on a folded blanket to help elevate your hips a little. That will help support your low back if it causes pain for your low back. Otherwise, I want you to round yourself forward and relax your upper body. So don't grab on and death grip your toes today. Just let yourself be heavy and soften here. Now, yogis, as we hold here, this may or may not happen to you. It happens to me, which is why I want to mention it. Your heels might start to tingle. especially if you're practicing on a harder surface. For that, you can take a blanket, you can stick it under your heel. You can even roll a sock and tuck it under your ankle, and that will support your heels and usually alleviates the nerves from tingling. And if it doesn't, again, always feel free to back out. Okay, yogis, slowly start to lift yourself up. And just come onto your back for a moment. Just rest. You can rest with your legs extended. But if that isn't working for you right now, always feel free to bend your knees and let them knock in. Okay, roll onto either side and gently press yourself back up. We're gonna come into frog pose. So I'll set this up for you first. If you already know frog, you might be having a lot of feelings about it. But yogis, that's okay. That is okay. This posture absolutely can really target our fight or flight symptom feeling. And this is one of those poses that within Chinese medicine, it is along, the meridian that can stimulate fear. So with frog, I'm gonna lay my blanket out the long way just to give me a little bit more support on my knees and so that my legs can actually slide. I want you to allow that to happen. So put your blanket out the long way. And we're gonna you can start in a tabletop position. And then you're just gonna start to walk your knees out. I'm already feeling some pops, snap, crackle pops. Now, your toes can be turned out or kind of let them be relaxed, right? Don't fret about the position of the toes right now. Instead, I want you to just see truly how much your knees can slide out. My right knee just slid out a lot more than I thought it would. So right here, this is where sometimes we can start to panic. And we think we can't slide out any further, we're gonna break. We're fragile, we're gonna hurt ourselves. So we tense up and we hold our legs in and we resist letting our hips open up wider, which they actually can do, right? So what I want you to do as you sit up here, take a moment, assess where is your starting point. Okay, and it's okay if it's more or less than mine today. Find your starting point. Then you can come down to your forearms. You can also come all the way down onto your belly. I'm gonna actually take my bolster the long way today and rest my upper body on the bolster. All right, yogis, slowly start to lift your upper body. Move the bolster out of the way. Keep your legs as they are for right now. Very slowly crawl out onto your belly. Let your legs kick up if that's what happens. And then just holding for a few breaths in bullfrog. So your forearms are going to support you. Your feet might actually stay on the ground depending on your body mobility. Mine do not. So mine are lifting up like this. All right, and then very slowly start to extend both legs out long behind you. And just rest on your belly for about a minute. Okay, yogis, gently press yourself back into a closed kneed child's pose, or at least just have your legs in closer together than you might normally, and then round down. Okay. Start to lift yourself up, and we're gonna set up for our dragons. So for a dragon, I recommend just folding up your blanket or towel and put it under your left knee to start, and then send your right leg forward. So for dragon, there's always different variations, options you can choose from. For today, you can stay with high dragon, or heel toe your foot out wide enough so that both hands can come on the inside for inside dragon. And then you can also take blocks or just come straight down to your forearm. For me, I usually can't go that low. So I'm gonna use blocks today and come onto my forearms, but take whichever variation you need. Okay, start to lift yourself up. If you're using blocks, just move them out of the way for a moment. And then yogis, I want you to press back to downward facing dog, but do not pedal out your feet. Resist the urge. Hold your down dog in stillness. And make your way down into child's pose. Okay, one side of dragon is done, so start to lift yourself up because we have one more to go. Moving the blanket so that it's under your right knee. Step your left foot forward. And again, take a moment. On this side, do you need high dragon or do you need inside dragon? It's okay to take slightly different variations or just different variations side to side. Our bodies are not perfectly symmetrical, right? So what works on one side might not exactly work on the other. Okay, yogis, start to lift yourself up. Move your props out of the way. And one more time, press back to downward facing dog. Again, hold it in stillness. And then come down to child's pose. All right, so really start to lift yourself up. Yogis, good news. We only really have one more posture left that definitely brings out more moans and groans, and that is saddle. So for saddle, I'm definitely going to use the bolster and have it the long way behind me. And then you can take your blanket, especially if you have kind of like bony feet like me. Years of dance destroyed them. So I'm gonna slide the blanket down so that when I sit back on my heels, the blanket is underneath. And you're gonna kind of sit slightly in between your feet. You're kind of sitting how your mom probably told you not to sit as a kid. And then you can always have blocks handy and use it either on top of your bolster as a pillow or, extra support for your head, or under the bolster. That's completely up to you. Now from here, you're gonna start to walk yourself back on your hands. This right here might be enough for you. I want you to stay here. If this is already causing a lot of sensation, hang right here. If the sensation is way too much and causing a lot of pain on your knees, some sensation in your knees is okay, but a lot of pain, grab your block or blocks, tuck it under your booty so that you can sit like this, be a little bit more elevated, and then lean back. Okay, so this is always a choice for you. This right here is saddle. But if you would like to walk it back a little further, you can start to come onto your forearms. And again, maybe this is enough, hang here. And then I'm gonna tuck the bolster in just a little bit more so it's up by my tailbone. And then you can lie all the way down. Some of you might be able to lie all the way down without a bolster. Feel free. I'm going to start more upright today and then work my way down. So yogis, find your starting position and just try to close your eyes, soften your breath. Yogis, very slowly start to lift yourself up the way you came. So if you're all the way down, come to your forearms. From forearms, press up to your palms. Pause for a moment. And then start to crawl yourself forward. You can always move the bolster out of the way. And then from here, very slowly, start to extend your legs behind you and come all the way onto your belly and just rest here. Okay, take your time, lift yourself up. We're gonna come into deer. So for deer, it's essentially a variation of pigeon or swan. Millie, do you wanna join? Do you wanna join, baby? So for deer, I'll face you. You're gonna have your feet wide, and then just let your legs fall over to the right. Now this right here might be enough for you. We're targeting our outer right hip, but you also can feel sensation on the back leg as well and in your hip flexor. Keeping your knees really, really bent will lessen that sensation. The more you kick your left leg back, that might enhance the sensation. But from here, you're gonna start to crawl yourself forward to round down. You can round down over your knee or to the left or to the right, right? See which way feels nicer for you, keeping in mind that we're targeting the outer hip. And then wherever you land, start to round all the way down. You always have the option to pull a bolster or block for a pillow. But again, because it's yin, because we're seeking out sensation, I encourage you, if you can, to see how far you can go and then allow gravity to work its magic. Okay, slowly lift yourself up and just gently sit back for a moment, windshield wiping your legs side to side. It's always an adventure if you have pets or kids at home. All right, and taking deer on the other side, you're gonna let your legs drop to the left. And again, you can play with keeping your legs exactly as they are, or kicking your right leg back a little further, just noticing the sensation on your back leg. And then round down over your front leg. Okay, yogis, lift yourself up. And one more time, sit all the way back so that you can windshield wipe from side to side. And you know, it's funny, I was just thinking how Millie being here earlier, prior to her coming onto the mat and sitting on the window, looking all cute, she was running around in the background. She clawed up the couch. She knocked the camera over. She was getting a little crazy, a little riled up. And my immediate reaction was a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. I was very annoyed. And truly, this was about 5 minutes ago. So I have to, true to this practice, take a moment, step back, breathe, know that it's going to be okay. You might have a similar situation happening right now at your home, right? Where you feel like you just can't get peace and quiet. You just want to practice the damn yoga. All of this, it happens. It's life. But this is why we do this practice. It allows us to just have that reminder, take an extra step back. It's gonna be okay, we're gonna be okay, even of moments of discomfort and frustration. So with that, yogis, bring your legs around front and come all the way onto your back. Setting up for banana pose, you're essentially going to put your body in the shape of a banana. So you're going to walk your heels over towards the bottom right corner of your mat. They can go beyond, right? Just walk them over enough where you start to feel sensation down the left side of your body. And then from here, keep your back on the mat at the whole time. I just want you to inch your upper body over towards the top right corner of your mat. And then, if it's okay, you can just leave your hands resting on your torso or by your side. But I encourage you to try reaching your arms overhead and then grabbing opposite elbow. And if, it's really more like opposite wrist, that's okay too. I want this to be relaxed, so just kind of hold on wherever it feels natural. So you're targeting the whole left side of your body. And this might be enough for you right now. If you decide you want to play with the sensation a little bit more, you can either cross your left ankle over your right. That will target this slightly different. Or you can cross your right ankle over your left. That will usually take away some sensation. So again, pick the adventure that you need today. Take another breath here. And slowly release your arms if you're reaching them overhead. Inch your upper body back through center. And then bring your legs back through center. And I want you to lie here in a neutral position for a moment. Okay, and then coming into banana on the other side, start to walk your feet and legs over towards the bottom left corner of your mat. And then inch your upper body, crawling your shoulder blades over towards the top left corner of your mat. And again, from here, do you just keep your arms by your side or reach them overhead, grabbing onto opposite wrist or elbow? And then do you take the ankle cross? right, take your time. Starting to come back through center. And again, just rest here for a moment. Okay, and then for this last posture, yogis, it is your choice. You can take legs up the wall. So just scoot your hips against the wall, let your legs come straight up, or take your bolster or a block on its lowest setting, not tall, not high. Scoot the bolster or block under your hips, just kind of slightly below your tailbone, around that area. You can always adjust. And send your feet straight up to the sky. All right, slowly start to come down. Yogis, if your legs are up against the wall, feel free to stay there for Shavasana. Otherwise, coming back onto your mat, gently remove the bolster from under your hips. And then setting up for your final resting pose, truly set up and rest in any comfortable position. For me today, that's going to be with the bolster under my knees, and then covering myself with the blanket. So take a minute, set up what you need. And then yogis, I will guide you out when it's time. Start to deepen your breath. And bring some small movement back into your body. And then yogis, take your time and roll onto either side of your mat. And with your eyes closed, make your way to a seated position. Once you're there, bring your hands to heart. Take a deep breath in and let it go. As always, thank you so much for taking this time to practice with me today. Take this time for yourself and, being open to discomfort, open to new feelings, new sensations. Yogis, I'll see you at the next practice. Namaste.